travelling party. We saw as we were standing outside, Tom Cole looked like he was in his gear, ready to rock and roll. Was he the travelling emergency? Or
No, he'll play. Yeah, we'll get Cole into the side. So he's working on the transition that we're trying to work our way through. And what's critical is a win this week for us. So we're still fighting for that spot in the 8, and with an eye on our future as well. So we thought Tom deserved a spot from his performance at East Perth, and he'll play this week.
Is he at a point where he can play some midfield time, Adam, or would he be that halfback?
Oh, he's a halfback. Yeah, he's that's where he's cut his teeth at East Perth. So maybe long term, yeah, we've got a couple of players who we think will end up in the midfield with Duggan and Nelson and Cole, with that potential down the track. But it's a good starting point, high halfback.
After the game, we touched on the midfield and the clearance battle there. What have you guys done this week to really address that?
Oh yeah, look, the clearance battle on the weekend, there was one particular area for us that was pretty poor. Yeah, we're always working on that. With obviously without our two main rucks in, it's been a different dynamic this year. Yeah, so that's something we've focused on a little bit this week, without going into too much detail.
What was the feedback from the players in terms of why it was so lopsided?
I won't go into the details of it, but we need to be a bit more consistent with our structure and our strategy around the ball. So yeah, there's some things we're working on, but scores from stoppages in general for the last month has been pretty good for us. It's just getting field position from stoppages. It's been a bit inconsistent.
Do you think Yo's part of the solution there, with him coming back in?
Well, he's another one who started half-back this year and who's pinched it on ball, and I think in the long term he's got something a little bit different than the rest of our mids with his size and his power and strength. So he'll no doubt get some time on ball this week. He's been doing some match-up run with roles this year, and that's good for him to have a starting point. But I think in the long term he'll be playing in the midfield as well.
Is that the challenge for you, Ads? You seem to have a lot of talented backs, or half-backs especially, and converting them into midfielders, and if you do lose one, you do have to push someone in there and they have to be ready, that sort of thing? Yeah.
Well, look, there's no doubt. Look, we're going to give Mitch a rest this week. We think he's just a little bit sore, and he'll come over and coach, which is a good stepping stone for him. We did it with Dean Cox a few years ago, and we think he'll be our traveller, but he'll be there to help us in the coach's box as well and get some experience. So that gives opportunity for others to get through there with some of our younger players coming through. So a bit of a double-edged sword for that. And that's not taking the game lightly. He's very important for us, but we also think the time for a rest. He's 35 in a month or two, and just showing a couple of signs of soreness. So we'll manage him in the right way and give opportunity to others.
How's he coped with that travel throughout the year?
I don't think it's been an issue. No, it's been pretty good. I think just the wear and tear of his age bracket probably grabs him every now and then, but him and Drew handled that really well.
Is that a tough one, considering just before, you're still in the finals hunt, you want to play finals footy and you're losing one of your better players?
Yeah, it is. It happened with Pritis a few weeks ago as well. So it's that combined with the balance of our side as well. We've got a number of inside mids playing, so we've got to get that right with our outside run and spread. There's no doubt, Sam's in our best 22, but it's just carrying a bit of soreness, and it's also an opportunity to get some others running through there. So got to have that eye on the future as well.
You talk about the eye on the future. A sign of the times, your back line will be Nelson, Cole, Duggan, Joe Barris in there. So it's a pretty young defence, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's exciting. And it's probably given us a little bit more direction in the last month to see those guys come in. There's probably six of our players are 23 or under, which is a pretty good balance. We think going forward, we want to keep getting some kids in there for the long term. But as I said, it's about winning this week, so that's still our priority. And it's a massive game for both clubs, and we're fighting for a spot in the finals. And we can't afford to drop too many games, and this is a really big challenge for us.
What input will Mitchell have on the coaching front this week?
Oh, he'll help out with our stoppages and our centre bounces. He's been doing that a little bit as a player, so it won't be more of a role for him this week. It'll be more about experience.
What have you spotted from the Magpies that you look to address particularly to help you get on top?
Well, look, their main strength at the moment, and I'm sure they'd admit that too, is their midfield. They've got lots of A-grade players. We thought that was the case with Freo last week as well, and we got beaten in that area. So it's a massive challenge for us with our midfield coming through, and there's it's littered with A-grade talent. So even without Pendlebury, they're really strong. So that's our number one priority, is to match them there first, and then see how we go from there.
You seem to stop on the weekend. You've had some last quarter fade outs the past few weeks. You got on top of that the last game. Is that something that you've identified, a particular a weakness that needs to be addressed?
That's a good question. Our last quarter fade-outs have been more inconsistent, or more prominent this year, really, with I think we ranked 15th or 16th or 17th in last quarter performances. So, you know, it's what you do in the first three quarters, I suppose. It's teams challenging, trying to stop momentum. In the end, I think you can't rest on your laurels when you've got a lead. And perhaps we've done that a little bit. We've had significant leads in last quarters and teams have run over the top of us. So, got to keep attacking is the lesson we learned.
It's been 10 rounds since you won 2 in a row.
Has it?
Well.
Oh, thanks for that. Well, that's our goal, to win 2 in a row. It's been one of those seasons for us. I reckon we've had maybe 3 games where it's been over 3 goals in terms of a deficit, and the rest have been pretty close. And you know, the Melbourne game, Gold Coast game, we've been in front with 4 or 5 minutes to go. So that's a challenge for us to stay in the moment for the whole game, and no doubt there'll be games like that going forward.
Has Luke Shuey been a little bit down on his output in the last couple of weeks, and this week is it a big game for him? Could Greenwood go to him and suddenly he's on again?
Well, he's a good tagger, Levi. I actually played with him a while ago, so he might go to Luke Shuey, but time will tell on that one. But yeah, I'd say that there's another gear that Luke can get to. He's a really important player for us. He's our vice captain, and he's an A-grade talent. So there's probably another level he can get to.
Luke hasn't been sore as well. We know he missed the game.
No, he's been fine.
With the Pies midfield, how do you decide who to send Hutchings to? All those guys?
Oh yeah, if we do that, there'll be an option for us with him. There's plenty to choose from. There was plenty to choose from last week as well. So he'll probably get a job though.
You picked Walters last week. You go for Daniel Wells. He seems to have a lot of impact for the Pies and be really important.
Yeah, well, I actually played with Wellesley too back in the day. He's a pretty good player, and he still is. So it was his first game for a while back. I think he only played 83, 84 minutes and still managed to kick a couple of goals and have 18 or 20 touches. So he had significant impact on their performance as well. So Treloar, Sidebottom, Wells, you know, there's still some pretty good talent through there.
Adam, Scott Lycett, any further update on each other?
Yeah, reasonably positive results. Yeah, we think we might get some more footy in the back half of the year. He won't play this week, but he may be available next week.
So you don't think you have to send him for surgery?
It might be an end of the year decision whether we need surgery or not. So it's not discounting it, but I think there's enough positivity with the results that suggest he might be available again at some stage.
The change in language from you talking about the list being one in transition and being a different side in 12 months, is that any sort of realisation about where the club's at the moment in terms of premiership contention or not?
No, not really. It's been in the works, I suppose, and it always is. You know, you're always in transition to some degree. You always want to make sure you've got to keep an eye on the kids coming through and the talent you've got underneath and giving them opportunity. So we've probably been a little bit more aggressive with that this year through circumstance and sometimes performance as well. So the balance for us is we're here for the now. We want to win. We want to win this week, and we want to go as far as we can this year. But also got to have an eye on where our team is heading and what it looks like in 12 months as well. So we think we're going okay with that balance, and we're really happy with the kids we've got on our side at the moment, but we'd love to get a couple more in there.
The Nick Natanui show reel looks pretty good. He looks like he's up and about. Have you got more than what we've just seen on Twitter and Instagram?
Not really, because there's enough of it on Instagram. So I'm getting a pretty consistent update myself. It looks really positive. It's just great to see him happy and confident in his own body. So he's due back in the next couple of days, I think. So we'll see how he pulled up from that experience, and we'll go from there. But really positive signs. If it's not this year, then it looks like it's definitely next year, which is really positive for the club. We've missed him.
Every Eagle fan saying, please, this year. Do you give him a realistic chance?
I don't know. I'll have to see how he comes back. I think what it does do is it makes you realise how important he is to our club, and obviously we've missed JK for a few weeks as well, and those two players are very important for us. They're hard to replace. So had some really good learning and experience with what we've done to fill the void, but I must admit we probably look a little bit different with him in the side.
How many weeks would he need on the track though? Because you've only got 5 weeks, probably, haven't you?
Yeah, every bit of that.
Yeah.
So, like I said, let's see how he comes back, and we've been reluctant to put a line through him because of what we're seeing and the little spike in his recovery. So we'll just see how we go.
Is the decision purely based on his fitness or how he's travelling, or do you look at where you are come finals
Yeah.
or the end of the home and what?
I'd say 100% on how he is and what level he can get to. So there's no way we'll rush or risk Nick.
JK's 200, just a quick one.
It's 200 for AFL games, and he's been reluctant to do any type of acknowledgement because they're not for West Coast. I suppose that describes what kind of person he is around the club. He loves the club. Obviously, he's dual Collingwood medalist, and we've missed him this year as well. I think the Luke Shuey's won 50th, and Elliot goes 100th if he plays. So there's a bit going on with the milestones, but none of them have made any type of deal of it. So, and that's the way that JK's been, and I'm sure you guys haven't spoken to JK too much in recent times because he's a private person, but he loves the club and he wants to succeed.
And that's the reason he hasn't done a public press conference?
No insult to you guys, it's just the way he is.
You said if Yo plays, is he still under a bit of doubt?
Well, I can't give you the whole side.
Yeah.
It's up for a decision this afternoon. So we trained this morning and we'll fly it this afternoon, so he'll be on the plane.